Okay, top5rapwebsite.com. You already know what's going on. Another Friday live stream. I'm on time today. I'm a little bit on time. I usually start at 7, but it's 7:10 p.m. Cali time, so we'll just call it on time for today. Like I said, another Friday live stream. Thank you all for joining. Today we're going to be reacting to that boy Louaista. Drake has a sensitivity problem, so this video for him is doing numbers. You can see he's already got 108,009 hours. His last video got 179,000. Realistically, this video probably has like closer to 200K right now. Like the stats update in our YouTube studio closer than it updates on the main channel. So I don't even know what this video is about. As you can see, it doesn't have the red bar. I've never even clicked the video before. But firstly, and shout out to the chat, we definitely gonna get to the chat. Firstly on the channel, new videos. Probably posted, how many videos I post this week? I posted a good, let me see. What's this? 7 videos this week. plus a live stream. I did the Trump Kamala debate. It's in 2 parts. And then my most recent video posted yesterday talking about academics' reaction to the new Kendrick Lamar song. I don't know what that song is called. Watch the Party Die. I called it Black Air Force Energy. It's untitled. But I think just academics, you guys know I favor academics. Like, I like his channel, but I think just a super malicious reaction that he put out there. Yeah, everybody in the chat, yeah, Tweaker in the chat, tweaking right now. He looking for the Cougars. He says you fuck with Big Crit. Of course, I really like Big Crit. I defend Big Crit like no other. Shout out to Echo in the chat, Zero, of course. Lady Kit, shout out Lady Kit here earlier. Yo, everybody that be here early, that be making me really happy, man. When I get on the chat, when I start the live stream, I see like 10, 12 people here already. I'll be like, yo, salute to y'all. Drake and Mick Academics. Are you calling him Mick Academics because he's fat? Like, yo, chill. That's funny though, I ain't gonna lie. Have a sensitive problem. Academics my fave, but OVO nut hugger. Yeah, Academics, he's usually fair. And if you want to hear me talk more about this in depth, these 2 videos right here. He's usually fair, but what he's doing with the Kendrick and Drake beef right now is like, I think it's ruining his reputation. So be sure to go watch these videos after the live stream, of course. And this is like my personal favorite video that I've uploaded this week. OT7 Kwani. This is an album review of his new album. I forget what it's called. They Said You Didn't. I think this is like one of my most funny videos. I'll be funny on accident sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. So, yo, we just gonna jump right into it. Shout out to Louaista. Before we start, go subscribe to Louaista. This is like, look at his thumbnails, bro. His thumbnails are insane. I wish one day to get my thumbnails on his level. I'd be asking him for thumbnail advice. He'd be like, bro, you got to learn Photoshop. You got to learn Adobe Lightroom. I'm like, man, like, that takes a lot of time. And I do this and I have a full-time job. Like, so to go learn Adobe Lightroom in the midst of all this, I just want to post my videos. But, yo, his thumbnails are crazy and his video production quality is very good. So if you haven't subscribed to him, it's not like he needs more subscribers. He has 1.4 million, but yeah, go subscribe to the guy. We're going to jump right into it. Let's see what he's talking about.
Drake has always been
and let me know if the volume is good. I try to turn it all the way up. Let me know if everything's crisp for you guys.
known to get in his feelings from time to time. It was the source of millions of memes during the early part of his career and has always been seen as part of his identity. But now it seems that the emotional rawness is mutating into something darker, and in the wake of his defeat in the beef with Kendrick Lamar, it's got him acting out in ways that might result in permanent damage to both the public's perception of him and his legacy as a whole.
See, this is a part I don't agree with. I don't agree with that anything that Drake has done during this Kendrick beef is going to affect the public's perception of him, and I don't think it's going to affect his legacy. I think all Drake needs, it looks crazy right now because Drake is kind of trying to put these hit records out, but he's breaking. But once he gets his next hit record and he surpasses Michael Jackson, he's the #1 hit maker in music history. And it's like, don't let it be a song for the females. Man, people are going to push all this stuff to the side. They're not going to forget, but they're going to push it to the side. Like,
as a whole. Because at this point, he's starting to look like a sore loser. It's your boy Louaista, and this is why Drake has a sensitivity problem. Once Not Like Us was released, Drake seemed intent on downplaying the effects that song's success had on him. He claimed on The Heart Part 6 that the whole exchange was a quote-unquote good exercise. Even as a song that called him a PDF file beat his streaming records for the most streams of a hip-hop track in a single day on Spotify and the fastest to reach 100 million streams. Within the blink of an eye, people he thought were his allies like YG and Billie Eilish were dancing to the
YG. Where was YG in that picture? All I saw was NBA Youngboy. Louaista said YG and showed a picture of NBA Youngboy.
Reach 100 million streams. Within the blink of an eye, people he thought were his allies like YG and
where is YG in this picture? We got some nigga from Africa. We got this guy, and this is NBA Youngboy. What? Hey, yo, Louaista, all black people don't look the same.
and Billie Eilish were dancing to the track, and it was even getting played at elementary school birthday parties. So he tried to take it on his terms, rapping over the BBL Drizzy beat on a Sexy Red track and keeping it lighthearted on social media. At the time, the word from his camp was that he was taking the whole thing in stride. During an appearance on the Flagrant 2 podcast, Lil Yachty saluted Drake for how unbothered he was about it all.
He didn't give a
Really?
No, he was genuinely unfazed.
You respect it because he's unfazed. It's okay to be like, yo, this song affected me. Or it's okay to be like, that was a really good diss record. If Drake would have just came out after Not Like Us and been like, yo, that was hot. Or imagine Drake does a live reaction to Not Like Us and he's like, okay, and he's giving them props, but then he's like, okay, that was great. You got some bars, but watch what I got coming next. Like, it would have just, I'm not saying that's the best move, but pretending like it doesn't bother you is obviously no one believes that.
Respected a lot, and I talked to him. That shit didn't bother him. I never saw him down.
Likes are free, correct?
Ever. I never saw him kicking his fucking foot, holding his head down. You know, and then to a point where I just stopped talking to him about it because I felt like I was the one bringing him the negativity.
But as much as they tried, it looks like people are seeing through the facade and just think the response verifies everything K-Dot said. Kendrick literally thought of everything in Euphoria, even down to Yachty being the one having to do the press run saying Drake wasn't upset.
Yeah, Euphoria, it's crazy listening to Euphoria, and especially if you have been watching social media this week, you will probably have seen Joe Budden come out and say, yo, Drake and Kendrick spoke prior to all this going down. They spoke and they agreed to keep it somewhat cordial, somewhat friendly fade, which makes sense because Kendrick comes out after push-ups and he's like, yo, we don't gotta get personal. And like, even Kendrick's shots on Euphoria are not really, it's nothing compared to Meet the Grams, 616 in LA, and Not Like Us. Kendrick's shots on Euphoria are like either funny, like, yo, when I see you stand by Sexy Red, I believe you see two bad bitches, like, or it's like even like the best part of the Euphoria where he's like, I'm feeling like Joel Osteen. He was in a film called AI, my 6 telling me to offer him. Like, none of this is like super crushing. It's a great record, but it's not as deep as his Meet the Grams or Not Like Us or even 616 in LA. So it leads me to believe that they did talk, Kendrick and Drake, and they agreed to keep it friendly. And then Drake throws like something out of left field, like, oh, here's something about your wife. I think he was trying to maybe throw Kendrick off, like, yo, we're going to keep it friendly, but once we get into it, okay, boom, something about your wife that you didn't know that I knew. I think he thought he was going to catch Kendrick off guard, but I don't know. I heard Joe Budden say that, and I kind of believe it. Euphoria sounds prophetic in hindsight. Just Gwen, yeah, I agree. Euphoria kind of like mapped everything out before it happened. How you speak to a cop beforehand, talking about keep it cool, that's some lame-ish. Drake, best way out of this is to apologize in the record and go to jail, then retire. I think if Drake just gives him his props, like, yo, Kendrick did it. Like, he did his thing. Like, he went crazy. Not Like Us was crazy. It was a good battle, but I'm moving on now. I think people will respect that, honestly.
Ultimately, all of this is just words. It's actions that matter when determining how Drake is coping with the very public defeat at the hands of a longtime enemy. And in those actions, we see that Drake isn't just struggling to handle it well, but also that his behavior follows a long-standing pattern of pettiness and immaturity that's been evident for years. First things first, let's look at the cancellation of TDE affiliate artists in Toronto. After Kendrick's pop-out show and Not Like Us video in which most of the West Coast descended to support him, it seems like Drake has decided to take a zero-tolerance approach to those involved. It all began when Schoolboy Q, who is signed to TDE, was supposed to perform in his hometown of Toronto. Just hours before the show, Q broke the news on X to his fans.
Yeah, and Sir too. Sir went through the same thing.
Canadian police don't want nobody from TDE performing. Note that initially, he put the blame on the cops, but in the very next post, he seemed to suggest that there was maybe someone else pulling the strings and that it might come from Drake's camp.
Obviously.
At the same time, issuing stern warnings that he wasn't to be played with. Top was just with Wayne and Baby. Party Next Door just had a show at the Palladium. If we wanted to get you
the Palladium is in LA.
Oh, we would have done it. Now, when somebody gets hurt, don't cry. When a fan tried to claim that Schoolboy Q got Rick Rossed, referring to a recent event that we'll also discuss later in this video, Schoolboy Q said, "I don't think you know who I am. In fact, I don't think a lot of you know who I am." If this happened just once, it might have been a coincidence. But the same thing was about to happen to TDE's male R&B star, Sir. So sorry to my Toronto fans.
Sir's music is
so
good.
The show has been canceled.
Sir's
We're
music
working
is
to
so
reschedule
good.
for a later date. Once again, Schoolboy Q was in disbelief. Ha 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 ha. Take your ass home, boy. Sing on the bus, it's over with. But while it was hard for some to believe that it would be possible for Drake to pull strings like that, a little digging would reveal that
I don't think it's impossible, or I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Drake could tell somebody, or I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Drake could look at somebody who's about to perform in Toronto and then make the move to where they can't perform in Toronto. I don't think that's out the realm of possibility. Like, Drake is the biggest thing to ever come out of Toronto, not just musician. He's the biggest anything. What has Toronto, Canada invented? He's bigger than the Raptors, the Toronto Raptors themselves. They don't even have a football team. You know what I mean? Like an NFL team. Drake got pulled in Toronto, exactly. Like, I don't think it's out the realm of the possibility that Drake could stop something from happening in Toronto. Like, does Toronto have governors? Who's the dude named Norm? Wait, who's Norm? Norm, I think Norm Kelly. Is it Norm Kelly? Retired Canadian. Well, yeah, he used to be the deputy mayor of Toronto. He used to always tweet about Drake from 2013 to 2014, and he probably still does. Norm Kelly. Again, this is a politician. Yeah, see, he's tweeting about the Drake and Kendrick beef, or it's his team, or whatever the case may be. Drake has pulled in Toronto. It's not like shocking that he could stop you from performing in Toronto. Now, if you're in British Columbia or Vancouver, maybe not. But Toronto? Like, come on, man.
The venue which both artists were meant to play is owned by Drake and Live Nation. Although Drizzy fans have attempted to downplay his involvement in history, the venue was promoted as his project from the very beginning in all of the press coverage. In fact, an article from Toronto Life titled "A Look Inside History, Drake's Much-Hyped East End Concert Venue" provided a behind-the-scenes look, which revealed that the venue's artwork is pulled from Drake's own personal collection. Throughout the venue, there are high school photos of Drake, tour set lists, signed Godfather posters, and portraits of Aaliyah and Virgil Abloh.
Shout out to Aaliyah and R.I.P. Aaliyah and Virgil. Drake, Avis says, Drake part owner of the venue. The Weeknd is bigger in Canada. Is the Weeknd bigger in Canada than Drake? Even if you say yes, Drake kind of introduced the mainstream audience to the Weeknd on the Take Care album. I mean, Drake is damn near their minister for tourism, says Daniel. Yeah, I agree. When I went to Toronto once, and I've also been to a Drake show before, and I own one Drake album. Like, y'all might think I'm a huge Drake hater. I own Take Care by Drake. I got it the day it came out. I've been to the Drake Summer 16 show when he stopped in LA. I went to that Drake and Future Summer 16. And I've been to Toronto one time. I went like for a weekend to see the Raptors play. It was the Raptors when DeMar DeRozan was still on the team. I was super close, like, to courtside. It was like the closest I've ever been at a basketball game. Well, no, actually, I went to the Lakers game this past year, and I sat like maybe a couple rows behind Savannah James, LeBron James' wife. But before then, yeah, I went to Toronto, went to a Raptors game. Drake came. He came to the game. He was only there for like a half. Then he left like maybe at halftime or something. When you flew to, and this was views from the 6 era that I'm talking about. When you fly into Toronto, Billy Bishop Airport, there's a billboard as you're landing into Toronto. There's a billboard, views from the 6 ad. Crazy. Like, anyone who flew into Toronto at the time and taxied their plane, you're going to see the Drake advertisement. It was just the most brilliant product placement I've ever seen. 1. 2, when you get off the airplane, you go to baggage claim. I've never seen anything like this. There are views from the 6 ads. And now we just know the album as Views. But back then, we thought it was going to be called Views from the 6. There are ads for anyone leaving any airplane. If you're going to baggage claim, there are ads, views from the 6. when you go and you stand outside the Toronto Raptors arena, they have their speakers on. It's playing Drake music. Literally the entire city felt like Drake. I'm talking about early 2016, maybe late 2015 at the time. So yes, Drake, yes, essentially their minister for tourism.
With that kind of involvement in the space, and the shows likely being booked before the beef kicked off, it's entirely possible that Drake had a hand in preventing the shows from happening. Plus, it's not exactly hard to believe that a call like this was made from a man who allegedly filed a cease and desist for Like That to prevent radio airplay.
Well, Drake said he didn't do that. On Family Matters, he says cease and desist is for hoes.
Possible recipients even surfacing in the
I'm just
form
being
of
fair.
leaked emails. And let's not forget, this is an individual who also reportedly entered streamer Trainwreck's chat to contest Kendrick's numbers for Not Like Us, as opposed to accepting the song had captivated the masses.
Yeah, I mean,
hey, can we take it back to 2022? Can you backdoor Eddie like Spotify backdoored the streams for that one song from that one guy? Said Drake in the
and
chat.
see, this is the whole shit. Like, stop with all this. Pratt, can you bet that one guy backdoored streams? Like, who? Even if the streams were backdoored, even if the streams for Not Like Us, there are botted streams, you still lost. He's more thinking about, dang, he took my record. Kendrick took my record for #1 most streams. Like, he's thinking too much into it. The song dropped, the culture decided, you lost. Even if, let's say, 50% of all Not Like Us streams were botted, you still lost though. Like, the song is still the same. Like, what the hell?
All in all, the conduct that he's done in plain sight and what he's allegedly done behind the scenes means that a lot of people feel that everything Yachty said about him taking it to the chin is complete cap. His fans want him to believe that he's unbothered, and they are lying to themselves. He's such a sore loser. We see Kendrick entirely unbothered and off social media, while the other is voting on fan polls and proving Kendrick's lyrics right each day. Left facing the greatest opposition of his life, Drake's team is likely learning that the way he's attempting to cope with the fallout from K-Dot's victory over him isn't doing him any favors. The real issue is that if you look back at Drake's recent behavior, there are growing signs of a volatile temperament. He's been losing his cool more often than not, acting childishly, and at times even embarrassing himself. If you have followed Drake's career closely, you'll know that he hasn't exactly been afraid to engage in petty behavior to mock his doubters and enemies. From giving Meek Mill a participation trophy for Wanna Know at OVO Fest, to dissing Kid Cudi when the man was literally in rehab, Drake has shown that anyone who has the nerve to challenge him might have to face the consequences. But where people like Cudi and Meek actively dissed him, the Drake of the past few years has gotten touchy to the point that he won't even accept criticism. Back when he released his album For All the Dogs, one man who had some reservations about the project was his former enemy Joe Budden. We documented the whole beef in a separate video and explained that since then, the two appeared to squash.
So people think Joe Budden destroyed Drake. I just don't think it was a back and forth enough. Sure, you can say Joe Budden had some great diss records, but it wasn't enough back and forth for me to even consider that a rap beef. It was just Joe Budden going full steam and then Drake throwing. Drake's subliminals to Joe Budden were so mysterious and coded that no one's really going to catch it unless you're really doing research into this. Someone said, how is Drake? No, HUR, where you at? He said, how's Drake as a performer? I really don't remember much from Drake's performance when I saw him at the Summer 16 tour. It was Drake, it was Future, Division opened up. I don't remember much from it. I think I was more excited. I've never been a Drake fan. You guys watch my channel, you know that. If you don't watch my channel, subscribe. Yo, shout out to the lurkers. There are people who are watching who are not in the chat who are just like lurking. I'm a lurker too on other people's live streams, but hit subscribe, bro. That's all you need to do. Drake, I don't remember much. My girl wanted to go to see Drake. And I was like, whatever. At least I can see Future out of this whole thing. And I saw Future. I saw them do some joints off of, what was their collab album? What a Time to Be Alive. He wasn't bad. Like, I don't have anything bad to say, but I also don't really remember Drake's performance during that tour. I saw Kendrick around that same time period in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena. It was the Damn tour, the Damn album tour. It was Kendrick, and then Travis Scott opened up for Kendrick. I remember that. I don't really remember Drake's. I saw Drake at, damn, I lost the chat. Where we at? Let me try to find that again. Oh, shout out Daniel Brody in the chat. I'm from Toronto, and the Drake glazing is crazy everywhere you go. The Raptors practice facility is called the OVO Center. Okay, look, Daniel Brody, when I went to the Raptors game, you know how you have a team shop? Like you go to the Staples Center, there's like the Lakers shop. You can buy Lakers gear, Clippers gear. In the Toronto Raptors shop where you buy team jerseys, Drake had his own section of the shop. It wasn't big, but it was like a Drake section of just OVO gear. I was like, this man owns this city, bro. I'm Canadian and found out about The Weeknd from The Morning in the original version of Wicked Games. Yeah, I knew about The Weeknd long before he was featured on Drake's Take Care album. But a lot of people didn't. Like a lot of people were not tapped in like us, downloading mixtapes on tootdopeboys.com, finding these songs. A lot of people found out about The Weeknd from Crew Love, the song Crew Love. Can't stop trolling. I expect that kind of behavior from women. What Kendrick says on Elevate, just say my name and I'll promise you'll see Candyman. Yeah, prophecy. The best lyricisms, the best rappers, they lyrics be prophetic.
To beef. However, when Joe simply stated that he wanted to hear a bit more maturity from Drake after hearing the project, it sparked another conflict between them.
This is like he rapping for the children. Yo,
Facts.
dog, I had to look up how old this was when I finished listening to the album. You are 36.
You 36.
Your birthday is in 20 days. I Googled that too. You only 37 years old. Get the fuck away from some of these younger niggas. And stop fucking these 25-year-olds. I'm want to hear adult Drake rapping for adult people.
No, you're not gonna hear that.
That's my issue with him today.
You're not gonna hear that.
He rapping for the kids, the streams,
The Instagram
accolades,
comments, the algorithm.
Yeah,
I'm rapping for this. No,
he ain't really rapping. He ain't trying to rap for me.
No.
Yeah, I just think I miss the Drake that was rapping for the rappers. I miss the Drake that when he dropped, the rappers hit him. Not these little fucking kids. I don't give a fuck about you and Kai Cenat. That's gonna sound like hate. Go find some niggas your fucking age. Hang out with them. Get some of that sauce. These kids.
Instead of acknowledging that Joe maybe had a point, Drake responded by flaunting his wealth. You left music behind to do what you're doing in this clip because this is what actually pays your bills.
And this is what, a lame dude to do. They always just want to flex their money, even amidst a proper critique. You just bring your money. Well, I got more money than you. But what about the critique, though? Like what he said was valid, though. But I got more money than you, though. This is what niggas do. Drake's brands don't sell that much, though. What else does Canada have to offer than Drake? I heard their maple syrup is pretty good, and The Weeknd is very good. No disrespecting J. Cole. It's a YouTube channel. I don't know what you're responding to there. Drake Ben knew Kendrick was the boogeyman. I think Drake knows now. I don't think he knew that back then. That's why he was acting like that on push-ups and on tailor-made freestyle.
You switched careers because the things that pop into your brain had you broke, living check to check. And the raps you wrote had 450 men showing up to your shows in Dusty and Nietzsche jeans to screw up their face to Mood Music 20.
I never knew how that was pronounced, but I always thought it was pronounced NYC. NYC. Am I right or is he right?
And pretend you are the GOAT. Please, to any artist that's doing what they feel is right, don't let these opinions affect your mindset after the fact. This guy is a poster child of frustration and surrendering. If you need to put it in simpler terms, Drizzy concluded, I own a 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions.
So here we go with the flaunting money. So the thing is, if what Joe Budden said, and I'm not like the Joe Budden defender. You watch my channel, you know I don't always have like the greatest opinions about these guys. One of my first big videos was a critique of Joe Budden. And to all the people in the chat, shout out to the lurkers. If you're not in the chat, but you lurking, I fuck with you just like I fuck with the people in the chat. Just hit subscribe, hit like, and we all good. The thing is, if Joe Budden's critiques just were not true or didn't really affect Drake, were not relevant to Drake, he wouldn't have responded with a fucking paragraph. This is like a paragraph a chick sends to you Like, yo, what are we? Like, what are we in our relationship? Like, they saying this long whole thing, bruh. So this lets us know you're invested. But to try to discredit what Joe Budden is saying, because he feels that, Drake feels that Joe Budden, what he's saying is valid. That's why he's responding this intensely. But the way that he deflects it is by saying, I'm richer than you. I got more money than you. I own a 767 jet. Joe Budden owns a modest house in Jersey and flies first class sometimes. This is not a proper response. This is called deflection. This is not a rebuttal. This is deflection.
From there, it just continued to get worse, with Drake sliding into Joe's DMs to make it clear that although his feelings were clearly hurt, he still wanted to make it clear that he felt he was above him.
It sounds like he think that this is like beef time. Like I want to reiterate, I'm happier than I've ever been in life. I don't have smoke. I don't have beef. I don't even understand. I don't even get the message, but cool. Yeah, I'm not sure why you went crazy like that. I like the album. This ain't 2016. I got no beef. Get your shit off, though. As a matter of fact, nobody's happier for you than me. Because you bringing up my friends and the bitches I fuck like you know anything about that. Keep it music. I don't give a fuck what you listen to in your free time, because the people's opinion I care about don't have free time.
If this was an isolated incident, it could easily be seen as just a case of the wounds from their previous beef still festering. But instead, it would be part of a trend of Drake and his entire crew not being able to take any sort of challenge to do better, or getting checked for poor behavior without it being met with animosity. Much like Joe Budden, Charlamagne and Drake hadn't always had the best relationship,
right?
But they seem to have buried the hatchet from
on back to back. It seems like they buried the hatchet when Drake said, you gonna make me, what did he say? You gonna make me fly out of my fucking frame. You gonna make me buy bottles for Charlamagne.
The days where Charlamagne said there were 3 sexualities, which were gay, straight, and Drake.
Because I always say it's 3 sexual orientations out here. It's gay, straight, and Drake.
And just as Joe had his reservations about For All the Dogs, it was the Breakfast Club host suggesting that the track Slime You Out with SZA basically came and went, which had Drake hitting up IG to act up. You kinda wearing me out, G, like you really obsessed with me or something for years. Like you look in the mirror and wish you seen my reflection type shit. Whatever you gotta do to let it out. I'm sure your 400th...
Here we go again, these long paragraphs.
35 loyal fans will stand by you, you fucking goof. Since then, there have been numerous victims, including none other than the Needle Drop's Anthony Fantano.
Shout out, Needle Drop.
Anthony has never been the biggest fan of Drizzy's work, with the exception of If You're Reading This, It's Too...
Hey, yo, me and Fantano, sometimes we agree so hard on music, and then other times we don't agree at all. But yes, I agree with him. This is like the one Drake album that I really, really rock with. I said earlier that I bought Take Care when it came out. I really bought Take Care because of the rollout to it. Stay Scheming, I'm on One, Trust Issues, Free Spirit featuring Rick Ross. I really bought Take Care because of the rollout. But the one Drake album that I really rock with is this album right here. And coincidentally, this is the album where he got exposed for having hella ghostwriters. So...
Too late, no album has ever earned an impressive score from the internet's busiest music nerd. And the less said about Fantano's views on his last few projects, the better.
Once again, I'll sum this up by saying this is just a very uninspired record from Drake. Not a whole lot going on here creatively.
I ain't even listen to this shit. I stopped listening to Drake albums at Dark Lane demo tapes, which was like during COVID, I think. I think that was like 2020. I listened to that shit. I was like, bro, I'm not just going to continue to listen to stuff that I know I'm not gonna like. And I had my YouTube channel going at the time. I was like, no, you should listen to the new Drake. He's popular, he's gonna get you subscribers. After Dark Lane demo tapes, I'm like, bro, I'm through doing this. Like, if you like Drake, I know I see Conch in the chat, official Conch. Cool, you like Drake? Cool. I've never, like, it's very few Drake songs that I hear, not just albums, songs that I hear that I'm like, I like this. The last Drake song that probably did that for me, that I genuinely liked, I'm thinking, it's probably Nice for What, where I listen to it and I'm like, yo, this is fire. And Drake will do that to me sometimes. Pause. I'll listen to it. I'm like, this, like, I'm not gonna listen to some shit that's bumping and then pretend like it's not bumping. Like, if the shit hot, I'm gonna say it's hot. This Certified Lover Boy, like, I didn't even listen to this shit. I heard songs off of it, but it was like, bruh, like literally the last Drake album I listened to front to back was Dark Lane demo tapes. And based on everything that's come out since Dark Lane demo tapes, I don't think I missed anything. If we got Drake fans in the chat, let me know. What did I miss?
A few decent tracks here and there, but
Dale Brody said, after I saw the cover to CLB, I knew it was going to be some BS. Imperial says that's Quentin Miller's album. Yeah. If you're reading It's Too Late, it's like Quentin Miller and Party Next Door. That's like, they did like 60% of the album, if not more. And if you listen to Quentin Miller's version of 10 Bands, I think it's just as good as Drake's version. Boys tell stories about the man. The boys shoot shots from the corner, Robert Ory for them bands. That's Quentin Miller. Like, that shit is fire. I'm not gonna lie. It's just unmixed. It's a reference track. But if Quentin Miller would have really put that on wax, like, that might have still been a hit record in the streets. Kendrick doesn't have a song as good as 8 a.m. in Charlotte in the past 7 years, says Conch. That's silly. Okay. Sort of stop that talk, Conch. You know it's not true. Yeah, that's not true. Believe it or not, I stopped being a Drake fan after Views until Scorpion. Okay, Conch, I can get with that. Because I liked Scorpion by Drake too. I thought that was a good Drake album. When Scorpion came out, I actually saw Drake fans that I follow on social media dislike that album. And I'm like, wait, this is how I know I'm not on the same page as Drake fans. Y'all are talking about how this Scorpion album is a disappointment. I'm talking about how this is like, I'm liking a lot of songs on Scorpion. Blue Tint. What's this shit? Look at the man. I had ice within. What is that song called? Now she think or swim. What is that song called? Like, I like some songs on Scorpion. Facts. Quentin Miller was just yapping lyrics Drake wrote. Okay. We ain't talking facts.
Coming together into a
Dirty Bubble in the chat is hilarious.
And yeah, feeling a light 3.
Light 3 is crazy.
This one. Yeah, this new Drake album, it's not good.
Considering how unreceptive to criticism he is these days, it's actually surprising how long it took.
And yo, what's the dirt? If you're lurking, if you're in the chat, yo, we waiting on you to drop that Family Matters breakdown. What's the dirt? We waiting on you. I fucks with you. You know that. We waiting on you to drop that Family Matters breakdown.
To maliciously slide into the music critics' DMs, but it happened. And initially, Fantano tried to shoot him some bail.
That I hear is crazy. What the
Drake
fuck?
had sent him a vegan
what are
cookie
those?
Recipe. But for whatever reason, he just couldn't let it go, even when Fantano tried to spare him the embarrassment of real DMs, which Drake released himself.
That make Drake look like the most bitter, emotional, passive-aggressive loser I've ever seen. This man unironically posted this to his story. Like he did some. Your existence is a light one, and the one is because you are alive.
I'm just gonna believe that this is fake.
And because you somehow wiped a black girl. I just don't get what type of response you think that this is gonna breed from people. No one outside of the yes men and the peers that you have are gonna look at this and be like, ha, you really got him. They're gonna be like, oh, you watch this dude unironically who shits.
Yeah, and you care.
And this is the best response that you could come up with. A barrage of 3 messages that look like they came off the back of you drinking too early.
I'm just gonna believe that that's fake.
There was
Photoshop.
Rap Radar's Elliot Wilson. After Drake hopped on platforms like Caleb Presley's Sunday Conversations and Bobby Altoff's Really Good podcast to do interviews rather than taking the time to speak to actual hip-hop outlets, Elliot expressed that he would love to see Drake sit down for a serious chat with someone instead of engaging in comedic skits. But Drake wouldn't or couldn't see any validity in what he said, and once again, tried to sun him as footage emerged of Wilson interviewing Trippie Redd at a music festival. LOL, man. Shit's.
Who actually listens to Trippie Redd in the chat? I maybe have heard a small piece of a couple songs. Is Trippie Redd fire? Let me know. Y'all hate Drake so much that y'all actually say I'm trolling for giving 8 a.m. the props it deserves. Well, we're not saying that 8 a.m. in Charlotte is a bad song. You're saying it's better than any song Kendrick has released in the past 7 years. So I guess you say 7 years because you're just only including Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. But I don't know. What's the Dirt not dropping until October? He's not slick. Yeah, if he drops on, I think he's gonna drop October 1. But I'm not gonna even say. Once the Dirt's gonna drop his Family Matters breakdown, then I'm gonna drop my Family Matters breakdown. That's just what we'll say. I'm just waiting on bro to drop it, you know? Shout out to What's the Dirt though. Great channel. And a lot of production. I don't put this much production value into my videos. Like I can't, I'm not What's the Dirt, I'm not Louaista. They really take time. I just think of something and then try to think of a great way to say it. And then I edit the video and put it out. They really do like a lot of research. I think they're like the closer to journalists than what I am. I'm not a journalist. Like Justin Hunt, Company Man, What's the Dirt, Louaista, like they are what I would call journalists. I'm just a nigga on YouTube talking shit. Sean C has some takes that make me wonder why they don't test people before selling podcasting mics and cameras. I really don't watch Sean C to be honest. I've watched a couple of his videos. I didn't see anything wrong with him though. What's the Dirt is compromised? Nah, shout out to What's the Dirt. I fuck with What's the Dirt. Zero said conscious feelings crash now.
Not coming to his platform for a second time, and now Elliot 10 toes doing Yes Jules run-up interviews at Rolling Loud. Just admit the youth took over, big dog. Now, there are likely some Drake fans out there who think that everything up until now has been a perfectly valid response. The real problem, though, is that Drizzy isn't just leaving their issues
What the fuck he wearing
past,
right here?
he's dragging
What
them
the fuck
into
you got
everything
on?
he does. And it's now gotten to the point where he's accusing regular journalists like Elliot of being a snitch just for doing his job during the—
That's how you know a nigga paranoid. You start thinking everybody around you is a mole, like is snitching on you. That's how you know. Like this is what Kendrick was talking about on 616 in LA. Like, bro, somebody around you is like they want to see you fail. Then Drake's just start throwing shots at everybody.
Kendrick beef.
So I have to view it like I'm just really against him. So when he dropped Family Matters, it was just like I was like, yo, you dropping this tonight? He'd be back like, yeah, whatever, LOL, like da-da-da. And then he sent me a rat emoji, and I'm like, I didn't like that shit. Don't send me a fucking rat emoji.
It's funny because Drake's the kind of dude that even if you don't fuck with you, he still follows you. He's not an unfollow kind of dude. At the end of the day, you know, Kendrick clearly won, and I got the calls, you know, from OGs. You know, I'm not really welcome in Toronto right now. But you know, like I'm from New York. Like,
I'm not welcome in Toronto. Who the fuck is going to Toronto? If you from America, right? You from Atlanta, New York, LA, Chicago, anywhere. Why would you ever go to, like, you're not welcome in Toronto? Like, bro, I was never going to fucking go to Toronto anyways. Cool. It's like somebody banning you from Mobile, Alabama. You're not welcome in Mobile, Alabama, by the way. Cool. I was never gonna fucking go to Mobile or Alabama, period. But you know, thanks for the info.
Like you have phone calls. Like I go up to New York City. You know, you don't go through other people's projects, right? Your projects is your projects.
You're not welcome in Toronto. It's crazy.
So that obviously makes sense. So. You know, yeah, I just think it's a tough time, man. It's a tough time to manage.
At 53 years of age, Elliot Wilson is now being told that he can't enter a city because of how things have played out. And what's more shocking is that these days, he actually has valid reasons to feel threatened. In recent years, Drake has tried to hide his sensitivity behind a tough exterior, mainly by associating with real criminals. He's been linked to the groups like the
Hells Angels,
Harlem Boys, Galloway Boys, the GGG crew, and even the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
Many years after he was robbed in his own city.
Didn't Drake have a nigga from the Hells Angels in the Family Matters video at the very end? Wasn't it a dude from the Hells Angels in there?
In an alleged setup, the once soft rapper has now—
You better be careful, bro. Like, when I hear stuff like that, like this rapper is involved with this gang, that gang, I don't look at that rapper like they're tough. I look at that rapper like they're being extorted. Better be careful dealing with these gangs thinking they make you feel tough. They'll fuck around and kill you. Facts.
Himself with people who have real street credentials, and it was an infamous motorcycle gang who allegedly carried out his bidding by jumping Rick Ross in Vancouver. After Rose, who has sent his own shots at Drake by coining the phrase BBL Drizzy and releasing Champagne Moments, played Not Like Us at a show, a Hells Angel member by the name of Andres Terazakis attacked Rose and his DJ. And as the footage began to surface on social media, Drake was seen liking the video, letting the world know that he endorsed the violent response to Kendrick's song being played. Meanwhile, Rose continued to troll his attackers.
Let me tell you something. When the first dude stepped up to Rose, the little short fat one that looked like Bam Bam Bigelow from wrestling, when he stepped up.
ECW, shout out Bam Bam Bigelow. Isn't Bam Bam Bigelow dead? R.I.P. Bam Bam Bigelow.
And then I squat down in his eyes and told him what I said. Basically, boy, if I hit you, I'm gonna see everything you ate for the last 2 days. His balls dropped out of his ass. He never said another word. He never did nothing. He was a straight buster. Then the nigga behind him said, I know MMA. And then I got hit with a drink. I'm still convinced ain't no nigga punch me.
But while Rick Ross made it out relatively unscathed, there have been a few other instances where those coming at Drake have received a real beatdown. Not necessarily from Drizzy himself, but rather from his crew.
Yeah, that doesn't make you tough. That doesn't make you tough. Like, you got money, you can pay people to jump other people. That doesn't make you tough. It doesn't make you scary. It doesn't make you anything, bro. Like, and even if I got jumped, it's like, bro, Drake, you didn't jump me. Them niggas jumped me. And like, me getting jumped and still being able to hear and talk to y'all, they obviously didn't do a good enough job. It's not like after, oh, he's a mob boss, he's tough. It's not really something to, like, bragging about jumping somebody is not, at least in my era, back in them days, it's nothing to brag about, man. Shout out Tony Lee in the chat, came with that bag. I'm so glad you're doing these live streams so I don't have to watch DJ Academics with his terrible takes. Now, thank you, Tony Lee, for the super chat donation. I will say, though, as a caveat, I do like DJ Academics most of the time. I think he has a good channel, what he's done for hip-hop media. I think he's a legend in hip-hop media. I just think his most recent stuff, following the Kendrick and Drake beef, I think it's ruining his reputation as a fair analyst. And you can go watch my most recent videos where I talk about that here. These two. I'm not anti-DJ Academics, I just say that.
But rather from his crew. Back in 2016, Mo G began taking aim at Drake and his producer OVO 40 after allegedly receiving zero credit for the work that he did on various upcoming tracks from the label. Over time, he lashed out online.
Shout out to the Somalis in the chat.
Hip hop, a man enjoys creativity and helps make Billboard hits, but doesn't get paid $1 for it, one credit for it. Here, stuck in the hood. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense. But exposing these niggas will make sense. Fuck you, on. Oliver's a fucking snake, double-headed snake.
Oliver OVO.
Just to let the world know, I never got paid no 12 grand. For the record, I'm not signed to OVO, and all my real fans have been rocking with me from day one. Check the history. I always delete.
It's so fucking cold out there. He could barely enunciate his words. This is what I'm saying. Like, bro, I'm from, like, if Drake was to tell me, yo, you're banned from Toronto, look how fucking cold it is out there. Nigga, I'm from LA. Why would I ever be in Toronto? I actually went to Toronto one time, so I can't even, but I was living in Boston at the time. I was living on the East Coast, and I went out there just to see what was good. I went out there to see an NBA game. But nigga from LA, you're banned from Toronto. Bro, who cares? Look how cold it is, man. He could barely, like, structure his lips to pronounce the words.
Got paid no 12 grand. For the record, I'm not signed to OVO, and all my real fans have been rocking with me from day one. Check the
cold as
history.
shit
I
out there.
On my posts, and I deleted it because I got bigger info coming to you right now.
As he threatened to
he got a little snot like on his nose and shit. Like, bro, like what?
Leak Drake's music, Mo G would be so badly beaten
wow.
that it would result in a hospitalization. Telling the world in an IG post that this is what happened.
And that's whole shit. Like, this is a man who helped you with your career. Drake was doing the Mo G dance and Hotline Bling. You know the I think he shouted out Mo G on a couple songs.
Deleted it.
And this is what you do to him. This is someone you was cool with. You probably said, "Yo, we family," all this, and scratch that. Drake didn't do this. You got a group of guys. You paid them to come do this. This don't make you look tough, and this don't make Mo G look weak. It just makes you look like a lame, bro. Like there's no respect gained off this for you, whoever called this hit, and there's no respect lost from Mo G off this. Like
badly beaten that it would result in a hospitalization, telling the world in an IG post that this is what happens when you speak from the heart, #dirty industry. Since then, what was once a promising rap career has been derailed, reportedly all because he spoke out against Drake and his crew.
Shout out Just Gwen in the chat, hit that like.
Moji spoke out about his inability to get any work in the city after everything went down. Dear fans, I'm being blackballed. For the past 2 years now, I'm banned from 99.9% of studios in Toronto. I'm banned from all the clubs. I'm banned from doing shows. I'm banned from doing appearances. When I get lucky and find a studio, engineers mess up my whole thing. They turn up my headphones on full blast on some hater shit. My word, they move like Joe Budden. They don't mix and master my music. They refuse to do it.
You gotta come to America, Brody. He has no pull out here.
Types of hate I get. Toronto is a city full of dick
Or maybe he does, but not as much as he has in Toronto.
Everything I love. And they wonder why I stopped rapping for 2 years. There's no opportunity. It's simple. Throughout these examples,
so Drake will read this, and this'll make him like aroused a bit. Like, yes, that's right. You're banned. You're frustrated. You're leaving Instagram. Great. Mind you, this is a dude who Drake used to mess with at one point.
there's no opportunity. It's simple. Throughout these examples, we see the dangerous side of Drake's touchy mindset. Because now that he's no longer the kid from the suburbs and is a well-connected man with quote-unquote mob ties, he can take out his frustration in new, harmful ways. And unfortunately, it looks like his whole crew is responsible for this mindset, as it now appears that his producer, OVO40, has been throwing his weight around too.
OVO40 hunched over like he
radio host,
AD.
and comedian Cypher Sounds has shared a story about the producer threatening to attack him. It all stemmed from a social media post.
What fucking song was this? What song is this? This is some extra zesty timing right
Sounds has shared a story about the producer threatening to attack him. It all stemmed from a social media post where he was tagged.
Yo, Conch in the chat, defend that. Conch in the chat, defend this.
Too. Recently, DJ,
defend
radio host,
this.
and comedian Cypher
Right
Sounds
now.
has shared a story about the producer threatening to attack him. It all stemmed from a social media post where he was tagged in that featured the track Not Like Us. Within hours of it going live, Cypher asked for it to be taken down. But this wasn't enough for 40, who said he would catch the hands the next time they were in the same place.
He said, how about I go to your city and
40 is gonna catch hands with somebody? Doesn't he have like a debilitating disease? You gonna catch hands with somebody?
Where someone calls you a pedophile. I'm like, okay. And he goes, I knew you never liked us. I knew you never liked us. You act nice, but you're really a bitch. It's on site. When I see you, look at you, you're laughing. When I see you, I'm gonna smack you in the mouth.
But as is always the case, no one except for Cypher could really take it seriously and saw it as an extension of the OVO team and Drake struggling to come to terms with their heaviest defeat to date. 40 trying to act hard is one of the funniest things I've ever heard.
Right, like, bro, don't you have like a life-threatening disease? Go sit down and chill out somewhere, bro. Enjoy your time. I'm not gonna even say that. I'm not gonna even say that. That's crazy what I was about to say.
They're going through it at the sweatshop. In the wake of the defeat, Drake and his crew have done nothing to prove that he isn't a sore loser. Instead, their conduct has been borderline childish and proved that they can't take criticism.
I mean, she was cute though, right here. She was cute. I mean,
his crew have done nothing to prove that he isn't a sore loser. Instead, their conduct has been borderline childish and proved that they can't take criticism even when it may be valid. But going back even further, this really shouldn't be a surprise, because whether it was his personal or professional life, Drake has never been good at handling things when they don't play out the way that he hoped. To look at how Drake's sensitivity leads to issues when he doesn't get what he wants, then look no further at how he's handled the new partners of some of his former love interests. For example, after he got all hung up on Georgia Smith when she was 11 years younger than him,
yeah, Teenage Fever. This shit feel like Teenage Fever. The only reason I know that song is because that's from an album from Drake that I actually like. That's on Scorpion. But yeah, Teenage Fever about Georgia Smith. And I think Georgia Smith has a song called Teenage Fantasy where she kind of speaks on her part of dating Drake.
Boyfriend Joel Compass for not being as successful as him, claiming your boyfriend do what I do for a living but way less wavy. Then years later,
yeah, this is what Drake don't seem to understand. Let me see that again.
Claiming your boyfriend do what I do for a
I need to know how the new nigga you got does the same thing. I do it for a living, but he's way less wavy. How you are even managing to keep straight faces? So Drake is like perplexed. This is like his thing with A$AP Rocky too. Yeah, Rihanna, A$AP Rocky, he does the same thing as me. He's a rapper, but he's less popular than me. I make way more money than him. I'm way more lit than him. So why are you choosing these guys over me? He doesn't get it. It's because you're probably lame. You're probably lame. They don't want to fuck with you. You're probably lame. Yo, how are you? Listen, Drake, this nigga's like 6'2", 6'3". How are you tall, light skinned? You got hella money. You got like, bro, you can get any chick you want. How are you fumbling these chicks to lesser dudes? It's because you're probably lame. Probably. I don't know him. There's no reason why. Come on, man. Do anybody else see what I'm saying? How are you tall, light skinned? Like you already hit the goddamn genetic lottery. And you rich. But you can't keep a chick? That means something is wrong with you, my guy. The chick would rather go date the dude who's broker than you, who's less popular, who's less lit. She's in love with him. To you, she's like, I could do without this guy. It's because you're probably lame. And he says it in his lyrics. Like he's like kind of, you could tell he's thought about this himself. The new nigga you got does the same thing, but I do it for a living. He's way less lazy. How are you managing to? Yeah, because come on, man. Do the math. Do the knowledge.
Way less wavy. Then, years later, he did the same thing to tennis icon Serena Williams. Previously thought to be good friends, Drake used to sit courtside at her games and very publicly thirsted after her. I cannot wait to put it on you and make you sweat during our match this weekend. But years after their situationship fizzled out, he decided to randomly swipe at her husband, Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, on the song Middle of the Ocean from her Loss, where he said, "Sidebar Serena, your husband is a groupie. He claimed we don't got a problem, but no boo, it is. You like coming for sushi."
No boo. Yeah, terrible bars. Terrible fucking, where's my no bar?
No bars. None. Not a bar.
No boo, it's like you coming for sushi.
We might pop up on him at will like Suzuki. In response, Alexis let it be known that he was happy to be his wife's biggest supporter. Meanwhile, the internet dragged Drake over the coals. Imagine being the softest little bit.
Yeah, this is like what a real family man. Like, bro, like, the reason I stay winning is because I'm relentless about being the absolute best at whatever I do, including being the best groupie for my wife and daughter. Yes, I'm a groupie for my wife and daughter. This is a family member. Like, bro, like, like you're trying to play a game with a nigga like who's not playing the same game as you. Your husband is a groupie. Oh, then he comes out like, yes, I'm a groupie for my wife and daughter. And Drake can't play the money games with Alex Ohanian. He co-founded, he has way more money than Drake. You can't play the money games with him. So that's already out the window. That would have been the first game he played. Like, oh, this is a family man. Yeah, I'm the best groupie for my wife, for my daughter, and any other kids we have. I'm a groupie, yes. What about you?
Meanwhile, the internet dragged Drake over the coals. Imagine being the softest little baby in hip hop and thinking you're coming out swinging against all these successful
who don't give a fuck about you.
Drake is such a loser, acting like an incel. He fucking disgusts me. Really, it's no surprise that after all that went down, Serena was happy to dance on his grave at the ESPYs this year.
Some of the best athletes in the world are right here in this room. Some of the strongest, fastest, and most skilled people ever are right here. And if I've learned anything this year, it's that none of us, not a single one of us, not even me, should ever pick a fight with Kendrick Lamar.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
Y'all gotta remember, Serena Williams and Kendrick Lamar are from the same city. They're both from Compton. So...
Hey. He will make your hometown not like you. The next time Drake sits courtside at a Raptors game, they're gonna Forrest Gump him Sight's taken.
They not like us. They not like us. They not like us.
But it's not just his love life where he struggled to...
Oh, is that Juju Watkins? USC, stand up. You know what I mean?
But it's not just his...
Juju Watkins.
Love life where he struggled to hear the word no. It's been in his career as well. Because when the world overlooked his project that he worked so hard on in order to focus on one verse from K-Dot, he couldn't handle it and basically went on a smear campaign to try and downplay it. Before the release of his album,
Nothing Was the Same,
Drake was adamant that this was the album that would...
Nothing was the same since they dropped Control and tucked the sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes.
He got the respect he felt he earned, but had been withheld from him as he was still seen as an outsider. And this time around, he pushed the album like no project he's ever released before or since.
I mean, I was just talking about it today. Like, my favorite part about promoting the album is just coming and being with the people, you know? So, yeah, and especially look at the young people. Like, you look beautiful today. Like, it's great.
A minor, especially the young people. Y'all look beautiful today. Creep.
Like, right on. So, I mean, it's refreshing, you know, it's always...
If I could tell you one thing about this album, it's just that, you know, I'm proud of it. It's an extremely concise body of work. Is it my best album? No, my best album is going to be my next album, and I'll continue saying that for the rest of my career.
Although he kept it humble at that moment, Drake clearly had a lot of faith in the record, claiming it was the finest of 2013 as it was released.
I do have the best album of the year, though, I will say that.
Nice. Better than Magna Carta.
I think I just have one of the best bodies of work of the year. I worked hard on that thing, man.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm proud of it.
With the release date set for late September.
And a lot of people like that album, Nothing Was the Same. I don't think it's bad, but to me it's just, I can't listen to something like that because it sounds like authenticity is so important in rap. And this album is not, Nothing Was the Same is not authentic to who Drake is whatsoever. Like that really is the album that if I were to guess, I have no evidence of this, but I would guess that Nothing Was the Same as the album where Drake had the most help with writing, ghostwriters, reference track, than he had in any other album before that. It sounds like Drake pretending to be somebody else. It sounds like Drake rapping someone else's life story. And I've always felt like Nothing Was the Same, even though I can acknowledge that certain songs are good. I personally could never get into that album. And I listened to it many times because there's like something amiss. There's like a disconnect with me personally where I'm like, yeah, I can hear the songs. I can hear the beats. I can hear that just on face value, good songs. But in terms of replay value, me personally, there are many people who disagree, who love that album, think it's Drake's best album. I cannot, there's like a disconnect with me. And after years, I finally realized why. And I said this in a different video that I did. It's because this is the first album where Drake started not to sound like himself. Nothing Was the Same was the first album where Drake stopped sounding like himself. On the first two albums, you got a super vulnerable, insecure, nerdy ass, lame ass dude, Drake, which is cool. That's who he has always been before that in his music. Comeback Season, Room for Improvement. And that's how he was on Thank Me Later and Take Care. If you like that, you like that. If you don't like that, you don't like that. And there's two pockets. Nothing Was the Same kind of muddied that. Nothing Was the Same. It wasn't like the Drake that we had grown to know. The vulnerable, nerdy ass, lame ass dude. It was like the nerdy ass, lame ass dude trying to be something else. And for that reason, that album never connected with me. Even songs that I think are super good, like The Language, Jealousy in the Air Tonight, I Can Tell. I will never understand that, but oh well. Like I can listen to that and be like, this is a good song. But in terms of being in like replay value, I just can't, like, especially with rap, I can't listen to something that's like a blatant lie. And to me, that whole album is a blatant lie. And it's always felt like that to me. I could never explain, like how I just explained, why in the past, but now I know why. That is, Nothing Was the Same as the album where Drake stopped being the Drake we used to know. and he started becoming someone else. And since Nothing Was the Same, it's only gotten worse. Like, we're not even hearing Drake stalk his raps. We're hearing, like, Drake rap people's shit. Vori, Mob Ties, Lil Yachty, Jumbotron. And every so often, you'll get these spurts of the dude that we used to know. And even though I still don't like that, like when Drake is like the dude he used to be, I still don't like it. But at least it's authentic. And Nothing Was the Same was like the first non-authentic Drake album to me.
It seemed like Drake was primed to dominate
Pound
the
Cake was
narrative
good. Pound
in
Cake
the
was
final
great.
months of 2013. But unfortunately for Drizzy and his ego, a guest verse from Kendrick that dropped in mid-August was still shaking the fabric of hip-hop by the time that he wanted everyone
Control,
to listen to
yeah.
his record. When Big Sean dropped the song Control with Kendrick Lamar and Jay Electronica,
Boy, I'm
he
about
was
my
not
business
only
on business.
overshadowed,
I
but
drink
unleashed
liquor on
an
liquor.
atomic bomb on hip-hop with K-Dot's verse. On top of controversially declaring himself to be the king of New York, Kendrick told everyone that he was putting them on notice, and he was coming for the crown.
Tell Flex to drop a bomb on his shit. Corvette's anonymous. I'm usually homeboy with the same niggas. I'm rhyming it. Hey, this is hip hop, yo. We can't get copyright. We gon' Big Crit Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mill, A$AP Rocky, Drake, Jay Electronica, Tyler McMillan. Yo, Louaista, how did you not get copywritten for this?
That his only goal was to be recognized as the greatest, but it was all love. While those he left out felt salty, a lot of the rappers he name-checked understood what he was getting at and felt that he should feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, the control thing, man, like, you know, as soon as he saw me, he said, yo, thank you so much for just, you know, for understanding and not taking the verse the wrong way.
I like that.
And I was like, Kendrick, you don't know I'm different, bro.
Yeah, it's rap. It's hip-hop.
Right.
I understand.
It's the sport of hip hop.
It's the sport. It's the sport of hip hop. He shouted out his peers, and he was like, yo, you know, I want to take something from your fan base, Mac Miller's fan base. You know, I want to take all of that. When is that not the mission?
But while colleagues like Pusha T appreciated the friendly
Big
sparring,
Crit, Meek
Drake was
Mill
left
responded.
distraught that the whole thing was about.
Yo,
to be
everyone who was, even Mac Miller, RIP Mac Miller, he was like, yo, I was just glad to be mentioned in the song. Meek Mill responded to Kendrick. He just dropped a, ooh, kill him. Like, another friendly jab back at Kendrick. Big Crit dropped Mount Olympus, another friendly jab back at Kendrick. Everyone named on the song, except for Drake, was like, they took it, either they responded in a hip-hop manner or they was just like, they just understood what he was doing. The only person who got his panties in a bunch was Drake. And that's because Kendrick done took the spotlight yet again from him. You got to remember, before this, Macklemore had won the Grammy over Kendrick. And people only remember that part. Oh, Macklemore, he won the, you know, with the Thrift Shop album. He won the Grammy over Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick. But everyone doesn't remember, there was 4 people in that category for Best Album for the Grammys. It was Macklemore, it was Kendrick, it was Drake, Nothing Was the Same, it was Jay-Z, Magna Carta, Holy Grail, and it was Kanye West, Yeezus. 5 people, actually. People don't remember, they just remember Kendrick. So even at the time, Drake was like, when Macklemore apologized to Kendrick, we all know this, I'm just going off the idea that we all know what happened. Macklemore apologizes for winning the Grammy over Kendrick. Ye didn't say anything. Jay-Z, only Drake came out and was like, well, where's my apology? Where is, like, we all lost. Where is my apology? Why does only Kendrick? This happened. This is like, come on, man, hold on. People think I'm capping. Drake, Macklemore, Kendrick. People be thinking I'm capping out here. Drake calls Macklemore's Grammy apology text weak as fuck. Canadian superstar says fellow nominees' message to Kendrick Lamar felt cheap. Obviously, Macklemore texted Kendrick Lamar, yo, you got robbed. I wanted you to win. I was like, you won. And I want to get to what Drake says. Drake says, to just name Kendrick, that made me feel funny. No, in that case, you robbed everybody. We all need text messages. So he's already feeling the type of way for Kendrick taking away from his moments. And then he drops what he believed is his best album. He had all these fucking writers, allegedly, on the album helping him. He worked so hard to perfect their accents and to sound like he's from somewhere that he's not. And he puts out this album, then boom, Kendrick drops one verse, Control. And it just, like Jay-Z said, it's funny how one verse could fuck up the game. All eyes were on Kendrick. And that irked him. And I think the same thing happened this year when Kendrick did the Like That verse with Future. I think to Drake, it was just like, oh my gosh, not this shit again. This nigga comes and drops one verse and everyone goes crazy. It's a moment in hip hop. Drake has never had a moment. Conch in the chat, you the Drake fan. But you can't refute this. Drake has never had a verse that made hip hop put on pause. Like Kendrick has done multiple times. Control, there was the BET Cypher in I think 2013. And then there's the Like That verse. And then Drake is like, damn, when Like That comes out, here he is again. With these crazy verses, putting the game on pause. And I think that's why Drake jumped out the window this time and was like, I'm gonna just put out a whole diss record. Push-ups. Like I think he was at his wit's end. So you just gotta keep this all in context. Like Drake had been fed up with Kendrick before this, based on what happened at the Grammys.
Take all of that. When is that not the mission?
But while colleagues like Pusha T appreciated the friendly sparring, Drake was left distraught that the whole thing was about to be brought up in every interview before Nothing the Same's release. And when it did, he came off as nothing but salty and, you guessed it, overly sensitive.
Nah, I feel like that's it. It's like, you know, he's the new guy to love, and of course, I mean, rightfully so. He's super talented, you know. But thank you. But he's but he's like, you know, he is the underdog that's extremely hungry. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing his thing really well. And that verse was. He's giving people like moments, you know, like that verse was a moment. To
Which
talk
Drake
about.
has never had.
Are you listening to it now at this point in time? Okay. And then it was real cool for like, you know, a couple weeks. But like if I ask you, for example, like how does that verse start?
Tell Flex to drop a bomb on this shit. That's how the verse starts.
After very clearly showing his hand with those comments, Drake then tried to walk it back as if he didn't care. But the energy was still one of disdain for what K-Dot had accomplished as he tried his best to downplay it and sun him.
Now mind you, it'll go on in Complex and Rap Radar, give it like verse of the millennium and all that shit or whatever. But like, I'm just saying, it's like, you know, I remember like somebody like asking me, you know, or maybe it was you that was like, is Kendrick Lamar your biggest competition, like, in this generation or whatever? And I think that Kendrick has like the utmost potential, man. Like, you know, I see Kendrick tomorrow, I'm gonna dap him. I didn't feel a way about that verse. I get it.
You didn't feel a way about that verse, but you going on this whole rant. This is the thing with Drake. He types a whole fucking paragraph about you, but then he's like, I don't feel no type of way. What?
I get the moment. Like, you know, he's a good guy. And like, I know that verse had no malice behind it because I saw him 5 days later at the VMAs and it was all love. So it's like, he didn't come on there on some wild, like, yeah, I'm in New York, fuck everybody, don't look at me. Like, I'm the king. So it was one of those things, it's like, I almost wish he had come in there on that shit because I kind of lost like a little respect for the sentiment of the verse. If it's really fuck everybody, then it needs to be fuck everybody.
But he don't feel away, but he don't feel away though.
It just can't be halfway for the sake of the people. But you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, that's just how I feel. I still like, when it comes to competition, I'm more worried about consistency. I'm more worried about bodies of work.
As the press run for his album progressed, Drake just kept letting his feelings be exposed whenever he was asked about it. Such as when his Billboard cover story led to a question about K-Dot. I didn't have anything to say about it. It just sounded like an ambitious thought to me. That's all it was. I know good and well Lamar's not murdering me at all in any platform. So when the day presents itself, I guess we can revisit the topic.
Well, today's the day. Well, today's the day because that nigga killed you off.
That's all it was. I know good and well Lamar's not
murder me at all in any platform. So when that day presents itself, we can revisit the topic. That day was 4 months ago. So what you got to say now? And be sure to subscribe. If you in the chat, if you're lurking, shout out to the lurker. Shout out to the chat. But shout out to the lurkers. You watching the video, you're not a, posting a chat type person. That's cool with me. Just hit subscribe. That's all I'm saying.
Guess we can revisit the topic. Meanwhile, Kendrick kept playing it cool when asked if there was any tension between them. while for the first time acknowledging that Drake was not like him.
It wasn't no issue from the jump. You know, I think people talk about beef.
And this is 10 plus years ago.
Dynamic. I can't see myself going bar for bar with Drake. You know, with two different type of artists.
While it'd still be a
I
decade
can't see
until
myself.
Kendrick really did go bar for bar with Drake, he'd clearly heard Drake's attempts to discredit the verse and its impact. So when K-Dot appeared in the BET Awards cypher alongside his TDE family, he seemed to take a little jab at Drake's feelings about the verse, even referencing his beloved album in the lyrics.
Nothing been the same since they dropped Control.
Jokes on you, high five.
Yeah, I'm
With that
bulletproof.
show-stealing verse, Kendrick continued to seize the agenda. So by the time that Drake sat down for another cover story in 2014, he was still being asked about K-Dot. And in the process, he finally admitted that the whole thing had derailed his attempts to promote his record. Hilariously, he also suggested that he was above the whole thing. Where it became an issue is that I was rolling out an album while that verse was still bubbling. So my album rollout became about this thing. What am I supposed
Yeah, he's trying to roll out his album. So by rolling out, he's doing press runs, he's doing interviews, and they're not asking him about his album. They're asking him about Kendrick. So every place he visits, Hot 97, Power 105.1, the LA Leakers, yes, it's about the album, but every interview, they're asking him about Kendrick. And I think this is around the same time where Drake goes to ESPN. He has that interview with Marcellus Wiley and Max Kellerman, and he actually just starts, allegedly, according to Marcellus Wiley, taking straight verbal shots at Kendrick, and Drake's and his team stopped that interview from coming out because it's so annoying. You get asked about this guy, like, I'm on my album run. I think it's my best album. I worked hard on this. And all I'm being asked about is my competitor. And I've never had a verse that's done what his verse has done. Just put hip hop on stop. Shout out to Juice Lee in the chat. The whole beef started because Drake not understanding the culture and being overly sensitive to the Control verse. Lecrae was right. Drake is a fan, not a product. I don't know. What do y'all think in the chat? Is Drake a fan of hip hop, or is he a product of hip hop? I actually have mixed feelings about that. I'm not like on one side or the other.
supposed to say? Nah, we'll be buddy-buddy. Mind you, I never once said he's a bad guy or that I don't like him. I think he's a fucking genius in his own right. But I also stood my ground as I should. And with that came another step, which then I have to realize I'm being baited and I'm not gonna fall. Michael Jordan doesn't have to play pickup to prove that he could play ball. No offense. But I'm not gonna give you the chance to shake me necessarily, because I feel great. There is no real issue. Despite the level of petulance he displayed in handling this instance of Kendrick overshadowing him, things were about to get even worse for Dre. Just look at his response to losing the 2014 Grammy Award for Best Rap Album.
And I literally just went over this.
To Macklemore. When the thrift shop rapper picked up the honor, there was a lot of discussion about how it probably should have gone to Kendrick for his album Good Kid, Mad City. So much so that Macklemore actually texted him to apologize. That left Drake, who had already had the promotion of Nothing Was the Same, overshadowed by Kendrick's Control verse, resentful.
What type of shit is this? Yo, Conch, defend this, bro. You in the chat, defend this. This nigga popping out the water like a thought. Defend this.
Who had already had the promotion of Nothing.
What is this all about? What song does Drake have where he needs to be doing this? In the chat right now, please.
The same, overshadowed by Kendrick's Control
The
verse,
hell?
resentful. So what did he do? He lashed out. That shit was whack as fuck, he said in an interview. I was like, you won. Why are you posting your text message? Just chill. Take your W. And if you feel you didn't deserve it, go get better. Make better music. It felt cheap. It didn't feel genuine. Why do that? Why feel guilt? You think those guys would pay homage to you if they won? This is how the world works. He made a brand
Here's a whole nother paragraph, but if you ask Drake, he didn't really care. But here's the whole paragraph again.
that appealed to more people than me, Hove, Kanye, and Kendrick. Whether people want to say it's racial or whether it's just the fact that he's tapped into something we can't tap into. That's just how the cards fall. Own your shit. To name just Kendrick,
Here's the salty
that shit
part.
made me feel funny. No, in that case, you robbed everybody. We all need text messages. On the other hand, Kendrick Lamar dealt with the situation graciously, even suggesting that Macklemore didn't need to do it whatsoever. Across several interviews, K-Dot said that the heist rapper had nothing to apologize for. It's well deserved, he told XXL. He did what he did, man. He went out out there and hustled and grinded. Everything happens for a reason. The universe comes back around. That's how it goes. That text surprised me, but Macklemore is a genuine dude, he said on another occasion. However it panned out, I wish him much success. He touched people's souls, and no one could take that away. Really?
And that Macklemore Heist album was big, especially that song Same Love. That was like the first time a mainstream rap song on that topic had ever been that popular.
The whole Grammy moment was incredible. Not everyone gets that shot. Here, we see a huge difference between how to take an L without looking like a total sore loser, and how to make that loss seem like a win by retaining your dignity. Because when it comes to not damaging his reputation when things don't go his way, it's really never been his strong suit. Then we have his resentment towards The Weeknd. Back when his fellow Toronto artist first emerged, Drake was undeniably vital in helping to bring him to mainstream audiences.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier.
Even tweeting out his lyrics to Wicked Games from House of Balloons. From there, he enlisted The Weeknd to help him write on Take Care, with The Weeknd later admitting that he sacrificed several of his own songs
Crew
for
Love,
Drake's project.
The
But
Ride,
Drake showed his true
Practice.
colors when, instead of signing to OVO, The Weeknd opted to launch his own imprint with Republic. In response, Drake was on Twitter sounding somewhere between a vengeful mob boss and a spiteful ex-girlfriend.
The same way people say Drake used other artists, like he just hops on their wave then hops off when their wave is over. That's how Weeknd used him. Like, yeah, we gonna use you. We gonna, get that Drake stimulus package, but we ain't signing with you though. Facts.
When he said, "You won't get away with just a thank you. You owe me a favor." Since then, Drake has tried to downplay the extent of The Weeknd's work on Take Care, while also acting like he never felt away in the first place.
With Abel, we had our run. We had our moments on Take Care, and my features on his projects, and he just really came to me at one point, came to all of us and was like, "Look, like I don't want to sign under another artist because I feel like
That's
I
smart.
can be just as big or bigger, and I want to start my own thing."
That's
and
very
it was
smart.
Never like I'm to this day.
Imagine if The Weeknd signed to Drake. Imagine. Where is Division? Where is Majid Jordan? Where are all these artists who signed who were great? Majid Jordan was great artist. Where are they? Party Next Door is not as big as he could have been. Where's Roy Woods? Shout out to Amon Ra in the chat, came with that bang. Everything Drake says aged very poorly. And I think it's contrasted by the fact that Kendrick is like very prophetic. Like things he says, like he has timeless records. Like what he's saying in his records remains relevant usually.
Hey, I'm always excited, always super happy for all those guys.
Now, with the benefit of hindsight, The Weeknd knows just how much of a bullet he dodged, declaring that I thank God that I never signed my life away on All to Myself. Because if we learned anything about Drake's temperament in recent years, it's that if Abel never threatened to get bigger than him, it seems highly likely that he would have snuffed it out. And to add the cherry on top to prove just how sensitive Drake was about his whole ordeal with The Weeknd, we can even see how bitter he was when he released his 100 gigs for your head top, which included tons of behind the scenes and unreleased footage of him creating albums and touring. In one of the videos, it showed Drake refusing to dap up The Weeknd when meeting him backstage. Take a look for yourself.
And I've seen this. Let me show you, like, the crazy thing about Drake is, and I say this often, I know guys like this. This is why I think I've never liked Drake's music or never really connected to him. I know guys just like this. Watch this. On The Weeknd.
So where does
purposely ignoring him. Let me tell you the way you snuff this out. Because obviously there's an issue between him and him. And he's trying to be buddy with Weeknd's friends and people he knows, mutual friends. Like he's trying to make people pick sides. Let me show you how to snuff this out. And watch him ignore Weeknd. He looks his way, but he doesn't acknowledge him. This is how you snuff this out. Yo, what's up, bro? Like, what was you saying about, like, do we have problems? Like, what's up with you? Like, are we good? Like, what? You just address it right there in front of everybody. What Drake is gonna do is he's gonna play like, again, I swear to God, I know people like this. No, we're good, dude. Like, oh, I didn't think anything. Okay, he's gonna play the pacifist role. So Drake doesn't get the satisfaction here of putting everybody on his good side because you just checked him in front of everybody. He's still gonna go and do his subliminal passive aggressive stuff, but you just check them right there. That's literally how you deal with these types of people. It's like very easy.
So where does this mindset in Drake come from?
You're
Well,
fake as
the
fuck.
most logical
Facts.
answer is that it's always been in him. And now that he's in the driver's seat, it has mutated into something far more malicious. Back in the day, Drake was open about the fact that he wasn't...
And like, even if you're the violent type, you smack the shit out of somebody like that, they're not gonna hit back. They're not gonna respond physically. Like, you smack the shit out of them, like, they're not gonna do anything, bro. Like, it's when you don't do anything where it starts to get out of control and they start painting narratives about you and this and that, and they try to turn people who are with you against you. It's when you don't do anything that it. But you can literally do anything. All you have to do is speak up, or even if you smack them, like, they're not gonna do anything, bro. Trust me, I swear to you. Like,
the toughest guy.
Melissa asks, tweets, Drake claims he wasn't cool in high school. What made you uncool?
I just didn't. It wasn't that I wasn't cool, it was that the kids that were cool, I wasn't on their wavelength, which made me sort of uncool, I guess. So like,
yeah, because you're not from the culture. This is what people say about you. Conch says, tell me when Kendrick got to work with Big Crit, Wale, Pusha T, Meek Mill, Rocky, Drake, J-Elect, or Tyler on music since Control Verse. I don't know what point you're trying to make. Kendrick has songs with Big Crit. Kendrick has songs with Pusha T. Kendrick has songs with A$AP Rocky. He has songs with Drake. He has songs with Jay Electronica. I don't know if he has songs with Tyler, the Creator. I also don't think it would make sense for Kendrick to have a song with Tyler. Two different types of music. So, and why are you using Control as like since Control? Like, what are you trying to say? He doesn't really like those artists? I don't know what the point you're trying to make is. Yeah, Conch is losing it. Facts.
you know, it was, I just always felt like an outsider. I went, when I was in Forest Hill, you know.
Yeah, if you put hands on somebody like this in person, they're not going to do anything. I swear. I swear to you. And I'm not promoting violence, but I'm just saying the type of person that I think he is. I don't know him. They talk to tough, roll, and they will very charismatic. If you just check them physically or verbally, they are going to back down. I promise you. I promise you. I've been in these situations.
And just being biracial, but still being Jewish, so I was like kind of connected to the kids, but like sort of distant. And when kids are young, they don't necessarily comprehend everything.
Right.
So it can get a little cruel and a little mean.
And this is a little zesty. If you think the way he's talking is a little zesty right here, put a 1 in the chat. To me, this is a little zesty.
And
the way he's talking is a little zesty. It's not, shout out LGBT, shout out to all the gay niggas out there. Salute. Like, I have no issue with y'all. But this is just a little zesty to me. If you think this is zesty, 1's in the chat.
When I was in Forest Hill, it was an all Jewish school, and just being biracial, but still being Jewish, so I was like kind of connected to the kids, but like sort of distant. And when kids are young, they don't necessarily comprehend everything.
Right.
So it can get a little cruel. And
like what? It can get a little cruel. Let's see that one more time.
So I was like kind of connected to the kids, but like sort of distant. And when kids are young,
right here,
they don't necessarily comprehend everything.
Right.
So it can get a little cruel and a little mean.
You get teased a lot?
Yeah. I mean, I got it, I got it, definitely.
Were you?
One chat says it's zesty. I'm sorry.
Where he explained that he pined for his acceptance in hip hop. I used to be so self-conscious about the strikes against me, being from Canada, being on a TV show, being super light-skinned. Now, it gives me the chance to accept that I am something different. Maybe I don't need to be the next Kanye.
It's not that you're from Canada. It's not that you're on a TV show, and it's not that you're light-skinned. When Sean Kingston came out with that, you're way too beautiful. Like, we love that song. It's not about being on a TV show. Ice-T, Common, they were on TV shows. And it's not that you're light-skinned. J. Cole is light-skinned. He does not get the same criticism that Drake does. It's the fact that I think this is what Lecrae was saying. You're a guest here, but you're pretending that you're something you're not. Like, just be yourself, though. And I think the pretending part is why Drake catches so much flack. If he would just admit who he is and be who he is, the shots wouldn't land on him. The shots that people take wouldn't land. Like Rick Ross calling him white boy and you got a nose job. It wouldn't land. We would know. Like, yeah, Drake is half white. He's Jewish. Yeah, he got a nose job. He talks about it in this song. Like, it's like the fact that he's trying to pretend to be something he's not. That's what makes these shots land so hard on him.
I don't need to be the next Wayne. I could just be the first Drake. But where that would usually be seen as a weakness, that kind of vulnerability actually worked to his benefit, rather than the spiteful anger that it has morphed into today. As a result, people now feel the fame has changed Drizzy for the worse. This Drake should have stayed. Drake was much more authentic here.
Right, that's literally what I'm saying. Like, the lack of authenticity. I don't know how you can listen to his music. Or maybe if you didn't listen to Drake, I listened to Drake when he first came out. Maybe if you never listened to that, you picked up on Drake and Nothing Was the Same, or after that, you have really no basis of who he was. So when someone says he's not authentic, you're like, what are you talking about? All you know is this type of Drake. I listened to him when he first came out. I still didn't like his music, but he was himself to a degree. I just can't listen to his music seriously. It's like listening to someone like acting, cosplaying. Like it's like he's method acting as a rapper.
Clown him for being soft or uncool or whatever, but at least he was being real to himself, not the fake tough guy mafia don he pretends to be now. Instead of being mocked for his perceived softness, Drake
Just Gwen said, being rich doesn't make you a cornball. He's just a cornball. Yeah, right. And I think that's what the women in his life are showing him too. How Louaista earlier, he mentioned how like Drake had this lyric to Georgia Smith about, yo, your new man, he does what I do, but he's not as lit as me. Why do you like him? It's has something to do with your personality, brother. If a chick is going, like, again, you're tall, Drake, you're tall, you're light skinned, you're rich. Bro, you should be able to get any chick you want. How can you not keep a chick? And every woman from Georgia Smith to Rihanna to everyone else, which is probably why you have an issue with women. You're all in these beefs. You're always calling out rappers' wives. You're calling out Pusha T's wife. Like, you're always calling out rappers' wives. So I think he knows this implicitly. Yes, I think it's what just Gwen said. You're just a cornball, like, and you're not authentic, and you're uncomfortable in your own skin. And women, especially women, pick up on social cues a lot more quickly than men. Women can see this immediately. After the what is it called? Star shock. After the shock of seeing Drake wears down, then they start to just, they're not super starstruck, and they just kind of like are observing you. I think they realize really quickly, like, this nigga is a cornball and like is weird. I don't know these people. I'm just making observations. I'm just a nigga on the internet, bro.
Is now experiencing what it feels like when your entitled attitude means that people are now reveling in your downfall and see your attitude for what it is.
They want the brother pass. Like, they want, like, if they want, like, the relationship pass where, like, if you're cool with them in the industry, they feel like you cannot like the opposition's music. You can't be honest. You have to, like, dick ride them. That's not okay, bro. That's not healthy. That's not reality. That's sore losing mentality. You're Drake. You should be greater than this. You're better than this. You lost, move on.
Move on,
And if you're gonna be tight at people, and you're gonna be mad at people's reactions, then come back with a fucking banger. Come back, keep the battle going.
He will. I think
Instead,
he will.
You drop Sexy Red, yeah, I love you, you're my everything.
I thought that was a good song for
and then
him.
now you happen on a Toronto comedian parody song.
That was horrible.
The shit's not adding up.
I just want to believe that that's AI.
Like, is this guy, like, he's gonna DM us next? He might DM me now after seeing this clip.
Left taking L after L, it's reached the point where DJ Scheme played Not Like Us in the very club that Schoolboy Q and Sir were banned from, and had a whole Toronto audience singing along to every single word.
So, nigga, for him to say that, I'm like, nigga, you sounded real federal. Nigga.
Real fetish, right?
I don't think academics even got a whip, dude.
What?
If he do, his mom's Cameron.
I'm sure Academics has, like, he has enough money to get a car. If he doesn't have a car, it's because he doesn't want one.
He definitely is a minivan type of nigga.
With the auto sliding door?
Yeah, auto sliding door. Auto sliding door.
Alongside Q and joining...
Shout out Juice Lee in the chat. Came with that bag. It's the reason Aubrey hasn't done TV/movie since Degrassi. He's been playing Drake for 15 seasons. Very time consuming. Yeah, I think he's method acting. And if you know anything about method acting, it's like, it's what the great actors do. Like, when they have a role coming up, people say Heath Ledger did this with the Batman, and this is like kind of why he ended up how he ended up with the Dark Knight. They literally take on in their own life the role of the person they're playing. I think that's what Drake's doing with the rapping. That's why it comes out that he has so many writers and all his music sounds so different than the previous thing he dropped. And I literally think that started at Nothing Was the Same. That's part of the reason I just have a disconnect with that album.
What happened, the
We're
real
almost at the
problem
end.
for
We're almost at
Drake
the
is
end.
that because of how he's behaved in recent years and how he's conducted himself as the fallout from the beef has transpired, he stopped being a sympathetic figure. In fact, to some younger listeners today, it seems like it's no longer even cool to like Drake. I'm telling y'all, the kids aren't messing with Drake like that. It's becoming uncool.
I don't know. I'm not a kid. I don't know kids either.
This is very bad for Drake in every single way. Just a few years ago, it seemed
He's a great actor.
impossible
Drake is a
that the
great
public
actor.
might turn
I
on
think he should
Drake
do movies.
so long as he kept providing hits. But as his rash behavior has spiraled out of control, we might be on the precipice of that. And based upon all the evidence presented, the only person he has to blame for it is not K-Dot or any of his critics, but himself and the enablers that let him get to this point.
Man, great video. Shout out Louaista. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the guy and y'all can watch this whole video in your own time. Here it is now. Drake has a sensitivity problem. Yeah, I think Drake should. He doesn't have to quit rap, but I think he should go into movies. I think that's where his talent. He has talent in rap too, but I think if he goes back into like film, I think that people's perspective on him will change if they see him in different types of roles, especially in like a comedic role or something like that. People will kind of put what happened with him and Kendrick to the side, and they'll start to view him in a more loving light. And then especially if he really leans into film and he doesn't drop music, let's say for 2-3 years, people will be yearning to hear his music again. But I think with Drake, like the persona that he's built as a rapper is so important to him because it's so different from who he actually is that people are viewing him in a way that people have never viewed him before. So I think it's important for him to hold on to that. And I don't want to be an actor because people are not going to view me like how they view me when I'm a rapper. It's like a disconnect. And I don't know the psychological term for it, but it's like a disconnect. Like he has different parts of his personality and he's doesn't want to be disconnected from how people view him when he's taking on this role of personality, because that's not who he actually is. It's something that I don't think it's something actors go through. Like when Denzel plays this role and he plays that role, I don't think he gets worried about, oh, people are only going to view me as this. I think he knows people view him as an actor. I do a role as a villain. I do a role as a poor person. I do a role as a good guy. And people know me as an actor. I think Drake's role as a rapper, he is very concerned with upholding the persona that he's built. And I think he thinks that if I go do movies or I do anything else, I'm going to lose this role that I've built. And I don't want to lose it because this role is how I want people to view me. If I go and do something else and do these other roles, the eyes are going to be back on who I am naturally as a person, which I'm not comfortable with. I'm not comfortable with who I am as a person. I don't like it. It doesn't appeal to the people I want it to appeal to. If that makes sense. So yeah. Cognitive dissonance. Shout out to Tina in the chat. Let's see. Cognitive dissonance is a psychological state of discomfort that occurs when a person's beliefs, values, or actions are contradictory or inconsistent. Facts. Yo, that's facts. Shout out Tina. She a psychologist, man. She a therapist. That's facts. That's literally what I just described. So salute. And who said that was okay? So this is how we're gonna do this. I try not to make these live streams super long. First, if you're watching, subscribe, bro. The chat, I already know the chat subscribe. Salute to my chat. But if you are lurking, which many of you are just lurking, just subscribe, like the video. That's all I want. And then I got plenty of videos that I've dropped this week. Go watch the video. So what we gonna do here, firstly, I'm gonna take a piss and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna read every chat that comes in after this point, and then we'll close it out, right? I don't want to take a piss and then leave y'all just with a blank screen. So let me see. What should I do here? Should I play my favorite Drake song? I don't want to play a Drake song because I'm going to get copyright. Let's go. Let's just play this Lupe song. Hustlers and Customers. This is like going to be my I gotta go take a piss song. Because last time I played this, I didn't get copywritten. So I'm going to just play this when I need to take a piss. Lupe, Hustlers and Customers. BRB.
You got your haters, you got your players, you got your hustlers, you got your customers. You know, just about everything. Police officers, where I'm from. Snakes down, snitches, got your mans in them. Professional thug, police raids, federal bugs. Who else is here? Belvedere, several jugs, homemade rocks, eye drops, and medical drugs. Selling you for revenue, selling use, incredible plugs, a shell or two. No respect for you, edible slugs, execute, floods arresting you. You confessing to a lesser two without even pressing you. Before the questions through, you leaking street names and addresses too. To block fiends, I lock things. On my sling, rock jeans, rap blocks, cocked under box springs. Most niggas want money and power. Half of them niggas is funny and cowards. Get hit with dummies and flour. Most niggas sleeping like lights out hours. But I'm eating, trying to ice out hours. The spoon to the floor, the glass to the door. Take the flash off the floor, about to mash on your all. It's hustlers and customers and niggas and snitches and players who wanna profit and haters who wanna stop it. And snakes up in the grass and fakes who want your cash. So lock your door to door and cock your 44s. Hustlers and customers and niggas and snitches and players who wanna profit and haters who wanna stop it. And snakes up in the grass and fakes who want your cash. So lock your door to door and cock your 44. I got few friendships cause friends tend to shift. Leave you to fend for yourself in the midst defenseless. At any instance that right hand can turn witness. Had to develop long vision like senseless. Viewed the business a hard white. Set too close so now I read with far sight. Get money hand over like
all right, homo a dyke all night.
Red dots
like recall all night. Yo, this is a crazy. I'm gonna always shout out this Lupe song. I'm always show it love because I think this is one of his best songs, and it doesn't get the credit. Did you wash your hands? Yeah, I always have to wash my hands when I use the restroom because I just piss all over them. I have to wash them every time. I just get pee everywhere. Anyways, we in the chat. We gonna read the chat, then we up out of here. You know what I mean? So where we at? Where should I start? Drake's always seemed much happier when he was hosting SNL. Y'all think the Drake SNL thing was very positive? And let's try to pull that up. SNL Drake. Where he was like doing the Drake's beef and he was just remixing back to back.
You were rude to my hat. If Josh Gad was here, he would have made me laugh.
Yeah, I think that was a good look for him. Because it was funny. And I could see Drake doing a movie with a role like that. Conch said, I didn't see what you said up there, Conch. We just keep going. Javi said it's crazy that Heath Ledger was only 209 when he played the Joker. Yeah, and that's method acting at its core. What Heath Ledger was doing with the Joker on The Dark Knight. Slap said, if true is K, I can't read that, bro. I'm sorry. I was at the gym saying lyrics from Euphoria and some kids said Kenny is irrelevant, but fuck with Drake. Shit blew my mind. Yeah, I can't speak for the youth. I'm not one of them right now. I'm not, 14, 15. Joe Vargy said drop a like for Louaista. Facts. Drop a like and go watch it. Go click an ad. Watch an ad. Let my mans get paid. Kiana said, I'm actually glad I found this channel. Subscribe. Yo, shout out Kiana in the chat. Facts. R-Dub said, dope video. Yo, salute. Be sure to go watch my other videos too, man. We got plenty of videos up here. I try to drop at least one time a week. Sometimes, like this week, I done dropped like five times. Hit the like on the way out. Facts. Tina B said, yeah, he needs to pull an MGK and call it a day. Soul 10 said, I'm ready for that new Kenny. I've been ready for new Kendrick. I'm so happy Kendrick dropped this new song, Watch the Party Die, because his song concepts are so good. And I'm glad Kendrick didn't feel compelled to come out and drop another super hype West Coast track like Not Like Us. No, Kendrick dropped some stuff that his core fan base is going to like. He didn't feel the need to reach to do anything because of his recent success, which I think is just perfect. Aubrey's best role is Drake. Facts. That's facts. I'm about to be 17 and kids my age do not like Drake at all after he got exposed for being a weirdo. None of us have been rocking with him. Well, you're 17 and you really don't know hip hop without Drake. Sure, you might know your hip hop history. I'm not saying you don't know hip hop at all. I'm saying you don't know what hip hop looks like without Drake. Like when Drake came out in 2010, you were like what, 3? I think all it's going to take is for Drake to drop another hit record. God's Plan. I don't know how old you were when God's Plan came out. Something as universal as that, people are going to put their thoughts to the side and love that record. I've seen it happen many times with Drake. We saw it happen after the Pusha T thing, the Baby Exposed and all that. Like we saw Drake climb his way back. So now I'm good on Drake, honestly, but I'm not his target audience anyways. I've been driving more than 10 years, 20 years. Character dissociation, yes, that's another term. Cognitive dissonance, character dissociation. All kinds of psychoanalysis for Drake. But with other rappers, they're perfect. AKA Kendrick can do no wrong. I've critiqued Kendrick in the past. Like, do you not realize, like, I've had wars with Kendrick stans in my comments before? I have a whole video. Look, Kendrick Lamar has a toxic fan base. Kendrick Lamar is not deep. Like, I got a video about the downfall of TDE before any of this happened. Like, so, come on, Conch. Drake seems exhausted. Yeah, he should probably just take his vacation at this point that he was initially going to take. Eventually, that role will become poison if he continues to carry it. I agree. They love you until you become the villain. Gwen said, now who said Dot was perfect? We all heard Mr. Morale. Yeah, right. I relate to Drake because I relate to Drake because I have multiple personality disorder. It's crazy. Yeah. Salute to Sultan. Conch, Drake is an actor. Stop trying to diagnose him with something he doesn't have. Conch, Lupe clears Kendrick. I think we're getting through the Conch, you guys. 2-3 more live streams. He's gonna, come completely to his senses. Play Lupe featuring Drake Failure. Drake has a verse on Failure. I've heard Drake's verse on Kick Push. Kamala, that's Kamala only. Kamala, what are we talking about? Play Comeback Season by Drake. I actually like a couple songs on Comeback Season, but it's not like Drake's early mixtapes. I don't listen to them shits and be like, this shit is fire. He was rapping. I think he was more focused on making good songs and good lyrics. But I don't listen to Drake's early mixtapes and be like, this is fire. I was listening to rappers who were better. When y'all was listening to Comeback Season, I'm listening to Lupe, I'm listening to Mos Def, like Fabulous had some mixtapes. Like Drake was never, ever super impressive to me. But he does have songs that I like. He has songs that I really like. Play Pulled Up by 2 Chainz. Well, it's Pulled Up. I'm trying to think how that goes. Pulled Up by 2 Chainz. At this point, he needs to see a therapist. I think he has enough money to where he probably already has one. I'm still bumping Samurai by Lupe. That's going to be my album in rotation for the rest of the year. Yeah, I love that title track too. I got these. Where we at? This is Drake's Real Back. SNL Drake was good. Yeah, SNL, that's what I'm saying. All Drake needs to do is hop back into film. Take about 2-3 years off music, then come back. Tease them with one track. People are going to be like, oh yeah. They're going to remember why they love Drake so much. They're going to remember why they fell in love with his music. Even the stuff he's dropping right now, if he just took 2, like No Face, like the blue, red, green track, if he just took 2-3 years off and then came and dropped that, people would appreciate it much more. He is funny when he does skits. He should hone in on that skill. Yeah, it's not just skits. He's a good actor. Drake is a good actor. I didn't watch Degrassi like my sister watched it, but I've seen clips. Bro, he fits right in with all the other professional actors in Degrassi. At least you said my name. I heard you. That's tough. Drake's exposure to culture was him crying to his mother over a sandwich and growing. What are you talking about? Concerned cafe patron. The beat was smooth as hell. Yeah, that Lupe song was fire. I caught you trolling. 2, talking about Dot isn't a product of the culture. No, he didn't say that. Like, I refuse to believe. Drake's made hip hop kind of stale. I don't think so. Drake has been here. Like, Drake's his fans have been eating. At least they get music every year, at least. I don't think he's made it stale. I think he's just begun adapting. Whereas when Drake first came out, like he was different. He was rapping, he was singing, he was combining the two. Now he has adapted to what everyone else is doing, which keeps him relevant, I guess. But it's made his music stale, but I don't think Drake himself has made hip hop stale. The Jits have no respect for the older cats. They just want Cardi and Brain Rot. Cardi is older, and like Playboy Cardi got to be like 30 by now, right? This thing got to be 30 by now. He's 29. This nigga he turned 29 today, September 13th. This nigga 30, bro. Like, so looking like this. Like, what the hell? He's not a young nigga no more. Kendrick's new song is a flip of his untitled first track. It's about the Book of Revelations applied to the industry. Okay, I can see that. I never made that connection, but I could see that, R-Dub. That's Axe Burner. Constantly laughing. My condition is saying, nah. We're not laughing at condition. We're laughing at the admission. It's just crazy how you threw it out there. Troy not even a real Drake fan. He don't know Drake and Lupe worked on Failure. I didn't know that, actually. Drake and Lupe worked on Failure? Or explain that to me. Or did Drake just freestyle over it? Because that was the mixtape era. They were freestyling over each other's beats. Reason Lupe chooses Drake over Kendrick is because Drake studied Lupe in them olden days. Well, so did Kendrick. If you listen to the Monster freestyle, where Kendrick freestyled over the Kanye West Monster, he does the same thing he does on Control. Like naming rappers. He named Lupe in them. Like, ADHD is approaching being 15 years of age and still sounds amazing. The ADHD is fire. That was like Kendrick's first. ADHD was the first Kendrick song that everyone universally liked. That was the first Kendrick song that reached out of his fan base into like somewhat the masses, and that everyone was like in favor of. If he doesn't get rated by that, yeah, if the NBC actually gets rated, like what Kendrick said in Meet the Grams, it's gonna be crazy. Drake sounded like Pharoah Monch back then, but not as good. Yeah, Pharoah Monch, he sounded like Joe Budden at times. Fonte from Little Brother. There hasn't been any real growth with Drake, to be honest. Yeah, there's been evolution, but yeah, growth, I don't think there's been growth. But he's definitely changed his sound. I blame the OGs for the state of hip-hop. They let too much trash pass the sniff test by calling it gas. Who do I blame for the current state of hip-hop? I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Drake needs to make his damn to come back. Yeah, all Drake's need is one hit song. Then the opinion's going to change on him. Trust me. Let's be honest. Even Drake's fans aren't feeling his new music. I mean, I agree. I think the charts reflect that. Conch, I think most people didn't have to navigate two worlds growing up and having your code switch and be a Cam million Drake changes to be able to fit in, because he never really fit in anywhere. Yeah, Laura, yeah. And Drake literally said that himself in this video. He literally said that he didn't fit in anywhere. I used to always download mixtapes off Hot New Hip Hop in a day. I don't know if they're still around, but I feel like that was the peak hip hop era. Yeah, like 2010. That was a great mixtape era, man. You could just go on Hot New Hip Hop and search new music, and you would listen to someone you had never listened to before, just because the album cover looked good or that they had a feature. Like, that was like peak music. I think we'll get another peak like that, but it's not current times. Current times we're at a low, but I think we'll get another peak. Drake taking 2-3 years off won't help him. That's why he hasn't taken a break. A 40-year-old making the same music will reinforce the current criticism. I think it'll help him. I think there's probably something with Drake's contract, which is why he's dropping every single year, like routinely. I think maybe he has to. He just did a $400 million deal, I think, with Sony or something like that. I think he probably has to for X amount of years. ADHD equals good. Rigor mortis equals the beginning of Kendrick toxic fan base with deep meanings and analysis. I think Kendrick's fan base has always been that way, deep meanings and analysis, because a huge chunk of Kendrick's early fan base were Lupe fans, and we were used to deep meanings and analysis. And then Lupe was not able to drop albums due to his label deal, so I think a lot of us transitioned over to Kendrick. I think that's the timeline. Is the RTX 4080 good? Yeah, 4080 is good, but a 4090 is better. $1,600 though. You got $1,600? If the embassy gets rated like Dot said in Euphoria, I'm inboxing Dot for those lottery numbers. Yeah, concept, we're all mixed, true. Been a subscriber since last year. Keep up the good work. Salute, man. And I started live streaming last year. So I've only been a year live streaming. It's been a long year, but it's been a productive year. I just crossed 13,000 subscribers. So that's, for me, that's great. You know. So we just continue pushing, you know what I mean? Gwen said, we appreciate the drops this week. You've been cooking. I've been trying to. Drake will be fine. He just needs to release a subpar album with 30 songs and have 2 to 3 songs hit. That's just been his MO since Views. And we're down to the last few chats here. Yeah, Troy been in maximum overdrive. I've been trying. And I'm going to actually change my profile picture probably in a couple weeks. I changed the name months ago, but I'm going to change the profile picture. It's going to remain what it is on Twitter. Still going to be Top 5 Rap website. I'm still going to have top5rapwebsite.com. All this remains the same, but I'm going to change the picture for YouTube only. I understand I'm black. Went to PSO all my life. Talk with a proper accent. Learn how to navigate both sides. Agree. Same here. Just out of curiosity, how old are you? Guess. I want y'all to guess my age. Guess. I'll tell you. I'm not afraid to tell you. Just guess. I just like to see what people think. Let me put my whole face on there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Hold on. We do need a little haircut a little bit. Guess my age. That's the last thing we gonna do. We gonna guess. We gonna guess my age, and I'm gonna tell y'all at the end. Y'all can probably guess how old I am based on how I talk about hip hop. Like I'm talking about the blog era, the mixtape era, 08, 09. Like I'm talking about it like I was there because I was there. So I'm obviously not 15, 16. Let's see. This is the last thing we're gonna do before we big and I guess the age. 29. Somebody said 34. What the? Yo, don't disrespect me. Don't disrespect me with 34. Do not disrespect me. Yeah. All right. Y'all don't get the full face view no more. Y'all talking about 34. It's got to be 24. Thank you, 024. Okay. Yeah, I'm 31. 31. Concept 27. No, 31. 31. And I'm a Sagittarius. What if he said you sound old? Yo, the way I talk, once I start talking about music, you're going to understand that I'm not like, but I go to Starbucks. The girls at Starbucks, I be there doing work. They be like, what the homework are you working on? Like homework? Like, shorty, I'm grown ass man. I know you're 27 or 28 because you came up with me. You're 31. Same era though. 27, 28, 31. It's like same-ish. We would have, if you're 27 and I'm 31, we could have been in college together. You would have been a freshman. I would have been a senior. The SAG game, December 7th for me, December 7th. So anyways, that's all we got for today. Again, now that the live stream is over, if you ain't watched the videos, go watch the videos, new videos, like 5 of them joints, 6 of them joints. Most Deaf Daughter, she's great voice. She sounds, if you like Sid, if you like the internet, Sid the Kid, Odd Future, go listen to Most Deaf's Daughter. And subscribe if you're a lurker. If I already know my chat people, they subscribe. But if you're a lurker, just hit that sub, man. Continue. I'm not asking you to post, do nothing you're uncomfortable with. Just hit that sub and we all good, all right? So that's it for the live stream this Friday. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Top5rapwebsite.com. Peace.